IDC has predicted that data will grow up to 175 zettabytes up to in 2025. But lots of organizations still think data as an expensive requirement to perform effectively. But the innovative and leading organizations think differently. They believe that data is one of the most strategic assets that they hold, something that appreciates over time and returns value. When you think and use data as a strategic asset, you unlock new opportunities, create new experiences, and reach to a point of maturity where you become data-driven enterprise. So to be a data-driven enterprise, you should be able to answer these questions, like how to engage customers, how you can transform your products, how you can empower your people. To get the right answers for all these questions, you need to enable to bring all your data from disparate data sources into harmonized and managed way. This is when you truly enable the digital feedback loop, which enables you, or which is the foundation for digital transformation. Obviously, at the heart of this digital feedback loop is data and AI. When you bring all this data, in one place, and you try to unlock different opportunities, different possibilities, that also helps you to generate new data, which can help you to understand more about your processes, and you start doing things in a better way. And then you are able to answer these questions like how you can, when you're engaging your customer, how you're engaging them more effectively, how you're transforming your products using the different signals that are coming from your customers and also from the products. And you have empowered your employees to get the insights which they can use to do the informed decisions. These are some of the statistics. You can see that obviously when you're a data-driven enterprise, lots revenue increases, profit increases, but one of the most important thing for me in that is that your customer satisfaction increases. And this means that you are bringing more and more customers to your businesses, you're getting more value out of them, and your revenue and profits are increasing as well. For data-driven enterprises, these are some of the capabilities, like how you can quickly provision your diverse data platform, how you can implement data governance, how you can introduce AI to your business processes. And one of the core capability is how to create a single architecture foundation which can help you to connect data from disparate data sources, how it can help you to industrialize your data asset productionization, and also help you to implement data cataloging, data security, etc. I will be talking about these data architectures in a few minutes. Today's data realities are extremely harsh. So organizations want to know where their data resides, how they can access that data, because data is in multiple different sources and getting the right access is always very challenging. They want to understand the lineage of that data. So to address these data challenges and lots of other data challenges, we have great option in Azure, which is called Microsoft Intelligent Platform. This platform is a combination of best-in-class services who works perfectly amazing on their own, but together they have deep integration across Microsoft Azure stack as well. So let me quickly explain to you how using one single platform can help you address your data challenges and also helps you to improve the way you work with the data. This platform has deep integration, which helps you to bring data from your operation and analytics sources in real or near real time, and also it helps you to understand and discover those data sets in almost limitless scale. With that, the barrier between the peoples just goes away. So what does it do is that it helps the organizations and their people to work together on the same data, same insight, and also for IT, it provides foundational benefits. Like underpinning all this is Microsoft access and identity services like AAD. So now your data and applications can access the data safe and securely. For end-to-end security, we have something called Microsoft Azure Sentinel and Defender, and also to apply the common data governance policies either on premises, in Microsoft Cloud, or across clouds, you can use something called Microsoft Azure Arc. So now let's move into data architecture. So I mentioned that in the capabilities of data-driven enterprises, one of the core capabilities was to create a single architecture. There are number of multiple buzzwords which we hear. So the first one is modern data warehouse. So this architecture is being used by the organization for some time now. And this has more or less these 5 stages. Some people call give them slightly different names. But on the face of it, the main one of the first steps you do is that to ingest the data from multiple different places. It can be on premises, it can be on the cloud. Then you do storage in different storage layers. So we have services like Blob or Azure Data Lake storage available in Azure. And then you can process bringing different compute, so either SQL-based or Spark-based, and you can create the data sets in the form which are easily consumable by your downstream systems or your power users or any data scientists or whichever teams are trying to access the data. And if you want to provide the data in a modeled form in a RDBMS, you can do that in the model phase. You can push the data in MPP. So we have a service called Synapse Analytics in Azure, where you can push the data, you can create 3NF or star schemas, and then that can be consumed in your consume layer using Power BIs, Tableaus, or any other APIs-based system. So this is one of the examples. When you can get these slides afterwards, I pasted a link as well. This is one way you can implement modern data warehouse in Azure. This is not the only way. Obviously, there are alternate services as well which you can use. For example, instead of these serverless Synapse compute, you can use provisioned one as well. You can use other Spark-based as well to do the processing on the data. So Noel Johanna from Forrester coined this term for the first time. According to him, data fabric is something that automates the data ingestion, curation, transformation, governance, and integrate the data from disparate data sources, real or near real time. I'm sure, like myself, lots of you must be thinking that sounds very much like modern data warehouse. So it, in reality, lots of people think it is, but it adds more stuff to it. Things like MDM, access policies, building blocks. So for example, if you have a data fabric and you have a module for data ingestion, you can just go and use that for your purposes instead of using the whole platform. It's just a metadata way of connecting those data technologies which can help you to address your pain points within your organization. Lakehouse, Databricks came up with this pattern. The promise of this architecture is to bring the best elements of data warehouse and data lakes. People are using data warehouse for a very long time. Some companies are still using that. It provides perfect performance and outcome for the structured database, structured data sets, and then data lakes, obviously, for unstructured kind of data sets and problems. But one of the challenges that people see with the data lake was you cannot enforce schema. There are performance issues. Working with the files is always very challenging. Things like when you are doing any updates or deletes on petabyte scale data is always very problematic. So this Lakehouse pattern came out, and it based on Delta Lake, which is the open source format. So it provides the capabilities like asset transaction. It lets you do time travel, and one of the very core feature which I like really a lot is doing the upserts or merge on your data, because again, as I mentioned, doing these operations on hundreds of terabytes or petabyte scale completely change the nature of the problem. Again, if you want to implement this Lakehouse architecture on Azure, you can do that. Our engineering team have written amazing articles and blogs on that. There's a link available on it. You can use Microsoft Azure services. You can use Azure Data Lake, where you can create your tables in Delta format. And then you can use Spark notebooks in Synapse. You can do the manipulation of the data. And then you can consume it using serverless or the provisioned computes. And then you can use Power BI on top of it or any other tools of your choice. So far, the architectures I'm talking about are mostly centralized. Now I'll talk about the decentralized data mesh. So data mesh is something which talks about giving the autonomy to the domains who work with the data, and they are the custodians of that data. And when they are sharing with external parties, they become their customers. So data mesh talks about intentionally designed distributed data architecture under centralized governance and standardization for interoperability, enabled by shared and harmonized self-service data infrastructure. It has four main characteristics. The first one is about the data distribution. So it has to be distributed across domains. People who are closer to the data have to be responsible for that. Secondly, data as a product. Your domains, when they are presenting the data to external parties, it has to be in the form of products, and the people who are consuming it have to be the customers. Self-service data infrastructure, which hides the complexities of provisioning diverse infrastructure and making the life cycle of product management easy. And lastly, the federated computational governance, where you can apply the governance across the domains, but you have to be careful that you have to keep the autonomy of domains intact, and then you apply those things using data security, data governance tools, and we have things like Purview and Sentinel and all those things which you can use in Azure to do that. And lastly, if you want to deploy mesh in Azure, you can do that. This is one of the example patterns. Data as a product and self-service infrastructure paradigms are not something which is new to Microsoft. We have observed many best practices around that. If you want to start your journey, you can use something called cloud scaled analytics. I've given some links there. You can go there. You can grab the best practices. You can grab the templates, and you can start deploying your data management and landing zones. Just one thing I want to say about data mesh is that data mesh is really effective way to bring your data systems together, but it might not be perfect solution for all the organizations. You need to have teams who work autonomously, and it fits mostly for the large and complex organization who are looking to scale beyond their single platform and who have teams who are working autonomously independently. And when you are deploying this, be careful of the governance because you don't want to create the silos, and always keep the product thinking of data at the core to be successful. So just to wrap it up, I just want to say that Microsoft Azure provides you with the intelligent platform which has breadth and depth to resolve lots of data challenges, and all these architectures you can customize. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. You can use cloud scale analytics to start deploying them. And if you want to talk more about them, you can come to our stand. I'm more than happy to talk myself, or I have colleagues there who can be happy to talk about these things. With that, now I will invite Paolo, my colleague from Microsoft, and Nick Shah from confusedcom to come on stage and talk about their journey of analytics on Azure. Thank you.
Nice one.
Hello, hello.
Good.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paolo Colecchia. I am a senior cloud solution architect in data and AI. I predominantly focus on artificial intelligence, data science, and machine learning. And it's my pleasure today to be joined by Nick Sharp from confused.com. Nick,
Hello. I am Nick Sharp from confused.com, so I head up our data department, which is our data analytics and data science expertise across Confused. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Nick. It's great to have you here and to talk about your data analytics and modernization journey. Before that, we start to delve into the presentation. Would you like to share with us all what is confused.com and what does it do as a business?
Of course. So, those not familiar with the confused.com brand, effectively it is a platform that allows customers to navigate through what is often or very considered a complex journey of trying to find the right insurance, the right financial and the right household services to purchase. As part of this, customers will leverage a platform not just to use a quote form to find prices, but also to leverage on products and services that make them have a more informed decision. And we have a mission across Confused that we want customers to make or have clarity about the decisions that they're making. And doing so, they need to have a platform that's scalable and available. That needs to be available on website, mobile and app, which it is. And in doing that, we leverage on the expertise that we had in the industry. So confused.com has been around for 20 years. In that 20 years, it started its journey best known for car insurance. Since then, it's scaled up from one product to 42 across the financial services industry. We've got deep domain knowledge, and we've always been very close with our customers. And in that, we really understand and appreciate the value of data in that feedback loop between customer frustration, pain points, and the new services that we need to offer them to provide solutions. When we're thinking about that, there are a range of tools that we make available. So it's not just about getting a price and buying a product. It can be about planning. So you can plan for the car you want to purchase, how you're going to finance it. You can have reminders around MOT dates, when to be serviced. You can plan for maybe a storm in bad weather and effectively what you need to do for your household. Or maybe it's looking at what to do when you've got a cancellation for a flight. So it's more than just an interaction. We pride ourselves on that and using data as an asset to achieve that.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. And obviously, Confused.com needs to provide, the best price point to your customer for a given financial product. And this will require to tap into different type of data sets, aggregate lots of data, get an actionable insight into your data. But over the years, let's say, what sort of challenges have you seen in the market? And how did you shape your data analytics strategy accordingly?
So yeah, I've already mentioned, obviously, one of the key aspects to this is we found a pattern. So we introduced the idea of this new concept around price comparison, and we wanted to scale that. So we wanted to bring that more than just motor insurance, but scale up, as I said, to 42 products. We wanted to reach more customers, so not everyone was familiar with comparing prices and how to go and do that. And in doing so, we also wanted to make sure that we're targeting the right products at the right price at the right time. So we're not annoying, we're generally providing a service. And in doing that, it kind of formulated our pillars. So first and foremost, back in 2014, we were early adopters of Microsoft Azure. And it was very apparent, right, that this pattern in on-premise infrastructure and scaling up that, we needed to do something different. So we went to clouds. And in doing so, we provisioned new products, and we brought that kind of concept in. We also were at a very exciting time, so price comparison was taking off, not just in the UK market, but worldwide. We had entities within Spain, France, the States, Turkey, Mexico, and China. And we had this concept where we're going, it wasn't just about solving it now within the UK and doing comparison, we could do this worldwide. So we came up with the idea of a framework and common components that we wanted to share. This then led to kind of further pushes that we really wanted to maximize solving this problem for customers within the UK, and we focused on our B2B integrations. More recently, in fact, since we fully migrated into Azure in 2018, we've been looking at something called Compare Stack, or comparison as a service. And we looked at our B2B integrations. So we stood up zettabytes insurances, we made a relationship with ClearScore, we worked with Top Cashback and Quidco. And this was really to identify that consumers wanted additional kind of leverage in terms of they wanted a product, but they wanted something more. So we're looking at people that were looking at credit scores and thinking about cashback details, or very much like Confused, where you can get your Gregs for free as part of this purchase that you've made. And in touching that brought us on to kind of the next element of our strategy, that we were reaching out to customers, we wanted to give them a better service, we wanted to better our products. And by touching through these B2B businesses, that allowed for more data points and allowed us to grow and really harness what provided the best customer service and the best offering to consumers. And then finally, when we were doing this, naturally we were very aware that we had gone from kind of this monolithic architecture on-premise. We are now scaling this up, and we come from a SOA architecture into kind of microservices. We needed to do the same thing with our data platforms, and we needed to have really strong governance. So naturally, we looked at lake design, and in particular, we looked at Databricks. So we went for Delta Lake, and we're loading our data in, and we were making use of the Databricks platform, ultimately. When we were doing this, we now had data that was available from different businesses. We were looking at different customer segments, and this data was all pooled in one place where our data engineers could build services, and our software engineers and our analysts could get access to a lot more data, a lot more quickly, and a lot more performant. But one real crown joys for us at this point was building up our AI capability, which is when I met Paolo. So Microsoft supported us in an engagement. We engaged through what was their Enterprise Data Science program, which Paolo came and joined us for a quarter. And in this, we built out a data science capability and a new model. And this was a very simple concept for us. It was just about finding or getting confirmation of sale sooner from the insurers. And in doing so, there were two benefits really. Firstly, we were less annoying because we were contacting customers at the right time at the right price. But secondly, we were not spending money ultimately on business that wasn't going to lead anywhere. So it was really rewarding.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. This is, a great story of data transformation, migration from the cloud, from the on-prem to the cloud, and then data analytics in the cloud as well. Did you have any challenge, if any, throughout this transformation journey?
Yeah, I like to look at them as good challenges. So naturally, there were things that we were doing when we were provisioning infrastructure before. A lot of our infrastructure team were worried about maybe job security and thinking about what would be next for them. When they were very excited to learn, they'd become experts and they would look at new data platforms that have new tooling. They would consider then kind of a consultancy role about the right tool for the job, not the only tool for the job. And this brought around new learning and opportunity. And it was a cultural change across our business, but it was an exciting one that meant that we could solve problems in different ways, faster, and really enable our business. When we were also doing this, obviously it wasn't just about those discrete packages and those discrete data tools. We wanted to think about bringing this all together as well, and that was really compelling when we could see we could store more data. We could reconfigure our teams where we weren't addressing platform as much, we were thinking about how to utilize the platform, and therefore we had data professionals that were embedded, and it changed our team structure with the relevant business parties that were dealing with customers, and we could utilize that platform. And again, that was a really exciting time for our people, because whilst running dual architecture and any migration is painful, the ability to step back and go, right, what do we want from this? How can we enable it more quickly? How can we get access to data more quickly? How can we actually answer the questions that are being asked today, not what they were several years ago, and how the landscape has changed? And I think that was a really good opportunity to reflect. It was painful at times, but it was definitely rewarding in the end.
Awesome. Great to hear that, Nick. And so now, what does the data analytics platform enable you to do nowadays?
So a range of things, but I'll focus back on kind of Compare Stack and our comparison as a service. So we recently went live with this for confused.com and our home insurance product in particular. And it wasn't just about, new platform, rinse and repeat the same things. Like I said, we had this engagement and we were talking to the business. So some of the measurements that we actually saw return to us were we're looking at our click-to-sale metric. So this is people visiting us and clicking out on prices. That went up by 0.4%. You go, big work. No real change there, small numbers. The real clincher for us was actually our change from click out into sale, which went up 8.2%, which really landed a message to us that we're doing the right thing, that customers, whilst going through the process now, had got to the right product for the right price for them, and they continued through that journey. And that was quite a compelling statement from the things that we've been doing time and time again. We then looked at, obviously, the marketing efficiencies that we're doing. This was about a 10% uplift. Ultimately through savings, but also new opportunities, so we could invest in what we're doing. And again, like I said, we didn't lose that messaging of kind of annoyance. We were, putting out the right message to the right product at the right time. And for our data professionals, the joy was we're looking at our lead times. So across analytics, engineering, data science, over the last year, we've seen a 50% increase in terms of that time efficiency. But I don't think it was just that. There was obviously data that we just couldn't get access to, and there was a lot more gut decision making. So in order to have a business that can make informed decisions via the relative data that they need, that was really empowering to us.
Oh, that's great. Great to hear that you are seeing this ROI from the investment that you made, obviously, over the year. We have been working together for quite a few years now, so it's great to see that you are seeing this return on investments. So what's now in the pipeline for the future then?
So it's always very exciting. I didn't mention all this too much, but last year Confused.com was acquired, so we're now part of an entity called RVU. Under that we have money.co.uk, Mojo and Uswitch. There is deep domain expertise across utilities, financial products and home and insurances, and within that we want to use our platform and really maximise what we know about the customers to leverage the best-in-class customer journeys. We also, naturally, want to use now our capabilities to develop more data products and services, that we keep scaling that out. We want to have more flexibility, so around the teams that have access to this data to build that out and not worry about kind of monolithic platforms, but discrete packages that we can kind of harness and push forwards. And we want to think about new capabilities, so analytics driving kind of the next best thing, but what about data science? How can we kind of predict what's next, or push to those questions that we haven't even asked ourselves? And just having the data in one place, having the tools available, and having the people that are desperate to solve customer pain points is the right combination for success, I feel.
Awesome. That's great to hear, Nick. So thank you very much for joining us today, and looking forward to keep working together on the upcoming projects. And if there are, I don't know, any questions from the room, feel free to ask. Not sure how we are getting on with time.